Hello and welcome to episode 64 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
This is Random Movie 4226. It's Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves from 2023. Runs for 2 hours and 14 minutes, has a Metascore of 72, user score of 7.5, had a budget of 150 million and a box office of 208.2, which I don't think they were too happy about. It's not that much of a profit.
Yeah,
Profit.
They just about broke even, which is, at least have done that, but they expected quadruple something like this, especially with the cast.
Yeah, it was received well, and I hadn't watched it since today actually, but it's got some good reviews from the general public. But I just didn't go to the stratosphere of blockbusters.
Yeah, and to be honest, it doesn't really deserve to. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing offensive in it. There's nothing that really annoys me in it. The acting's reasonable.
No.
A lot of reasonable, but not a lot of standout-ishness.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was going through it and going, this is fine, but nothing at all epic or had the certain recipe for a stonking great movie.
Unlike the previous movie, which is culturally significant and is now a pop culture classic,
Yeah.
This will never make that status and doesn't deserve to, I suppose. It's too generic.
Yeah, it's pretty generic, and you've seen everything 1,000 times before in this movie. It's directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. They co-wrote Spider-Man: Homecoming, so there's a little bit of quality in their suitcase there.
Yeah, I think the lads have a decent understanding of comedy and timing.
Yeah, I was watching this. I think I smiled maybe once, but I wasn't annoyed by the humor in it. I was just like, I guess that's very Guardians of the Galaxy, but less funnier, but the same sort of attempt.
To be honest, it felt a bit more PG, if you get me.
Yeah.
Like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's way funnier than this. The comedy, again, very juvenile, but it's less PG, even though it's quite kid friendly. This is just, it doesn't try to be, nuance, or doesn't try to be a bit on the dark side. There's nothing dark about this at all.
No.
Which I think if you slapped a bit of darkness into this, it could have made it an excellent movie. But I think they wanted to keep the appeal for all ages to maximize their box office takings.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it was a confusing sort of movie vibe to get. I don't know. I got a strange vibe from it where it was just sort of like paint by numbers kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bit phoned in. Again, I don't want to rag on this movie too bad because it's not a bad movie per se, but it feels like it could have been a whole lot more.
Yeah, I think so. Summary is: a charming thief and a band of unlikely adventurers undertake an epic heist to retrieve a lost relic, but things go dangerously awry when they run afoul of the wrong people. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves brings the rich world and playful spirit of the legendary role-playing game to the big screen in a hilarious and action-packed adventure. So the summary is about as generic as the plot.
Yeah.
We're introduced straight away to Holgen Edgin. I'll just call him Ed from now on.
Eggy.
Yeah, it's Chris Pine as Ed and Michelle Rodriguez as Holga. We get introduced to them as, a sort of a thieves in arms duo. They're in prison, and you very quickly get the vibe that Holga's the muscle and Ed's a sort of
the planner, the brains, if you will, of the operation.
Yeah, smart aleck, wise guy. They go in front of the Absolution Council.
Yeah, I was just going to say he's the standard bard of any D&D team. Not that I've played much in the way of D&D other than computer games.
I played real Dungeons and Dragons once, and I didn't not enjoy it. It was fine.
I played it once as well. It's a lot of work, though. I was kind of like, yeah, this is great, but I'm not going to be bothered doing all this setup in future.
Well, yeah, I wasn't the DM or anything. It was a friend of mine, and obviously a lot of work goes into that. I can just show up, they gave me the characters' traits and skills because they knew I was a noob, and I was just like, yeah, that's fine, it's cool. All right, I'll be a priest or whatever the hell I was. Yeah, it was okay. But I'm guessing there's a lot of in jokes and in references in this.
Yeah, a lot of fan service going on here. Like the name places like Neverwinter is very famous in Dungeons and Dragons, as is Baldur's Gate, where they dropped a couple of things.
Yeah, said it a lot.
Yeah,
and you could tell when he was saying, "I've got one token to resurrect the dead." I was like, yeah, that's very video game, board game, Dungeons.
Did you hear me, fans of the genre?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they're dragged up to the Absolution Council to get their parole, and they keep on hemming and hawing because they want Jonathan to appear. Find out quite quickly why, but this is where Ed is sort of telling his backstory, and we get a bit of exposition here where he was a spy. We see a little bit of a clip where he's taking one of the red, what's it called? Red
Wizards.
And you see him grabbing it, and you see him eyeing this gold. But then later on, we figure out what happened.
Just more than eyeing it.
Oh yeah. And so we see that the wizards went to his house and killed his wife, and the baby's okay. And then,
thankfully, they had a kid box installed in the wall in the house, which is very handy.
Quite handy, yeah. So it's also then we find out that Holga came along and helped him out of a drunken stupor when he had his kid in the pub with him, which is what every Irish dad has done in the past.
Yes, it's just like growing up in Ireland in the 80s.
Yeah. So she basically reared Kira up with him, and basically the story is told they meet up with Simon the Sorcerer, which was a computer game, wasn't it? Simon the Sorcerer.
He's a character from Terry Pratchett's novels, and then was made into a computer game.
I just remember, I think it was on the Amiga. I can't remember. This is just very, very familiar to me, Simon the Sorcerer.
Yeah, it was an Amiga and the old IBM PCs back in the day. I never played it.
No, it was a sideways platformer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it?
No, I think it was
Monkey Island type thing.
Monkey Island style thing.
Yeah. And then Forge is one of them too, played by Hugh Grant.
I was going to say Hugh Jackman there, not Hugh Jackman.
Yeah. And then he brings along the wizard Sophina, and they're going to Corrin's Keep, and they get fucked up pretty much. They in this time bubble they get caught. That's how Ed and Holger are in prison, and he says to Forge, "Look after my daughter." Yep, I will look after.
Yeah, and then they circle back to the parole hearing, and all the guys are like, "Oh yeah, fair enough." But then Jonathan turns up, and he turns out he's a Birdman chap, and he's like, "Yeah, hey everybody, sorry I'm late." And they're like, "Oh great, Jonathan." And Jonathan's like, "What? Who are you?" So at this point, the audience is led to believe that Jonathan knows the guys will be like sympathetic to their plight. But no, they want him because he's got a pair of wings on him. So they grab him and jump out the window with him and use him as a kite.
Yeah. Poor Jonathan.
Yeah, he's no idea what's going on.
No. So they make their way to Neverwinter to meet up with Kira again, his daughter, and Forge, and unfortunately Sophina is still his advisor, and
she's still looking a bit sketchy in my opinion at this point.
Bit of mascara on her, which always leads people to believe they're evil. Yeah, and so it's kind of funny that Forge is complaining about his tea being hot. It was all right, but not laugh out loud. But it's a good performance by Hugh Grant.
Yeah, I know you may not agree with this, but I used to despise Mr. Hugh Grant back in the day. He was a bit too floppy, annoying, standard character of a idiotic British character. Like, I much prefer him playing kind of still an idiot, but an absolute asshole, a sneaky asshole, which he does in this, and he does in a few other movies recently as well, like Paddington 2, which is very good.
And he played Tony the Tiger in Unfrosted.
Did he? I haven't seen it.
He was great. No.
Brilliant. Well done.
Yeah. He showed up and but he's fine in this. So, I'm not a big fan of his, and that's obviously from his stint of 90s movies where
Rom-coms every 10 minutes.
Notting Hill and all that shit.
Yeah, he was quite typecast back in the 80s and not 80s, but 90s and noughties.
Well, he had the accent, he had the foppish hair, he had the stuttering performance, no. Well,
The best thing that ever happened to him is him getting caught prostitutes, if you ask me. It destroyed that persona. He could never use it again.
Was that after all these movies, after all the rom-com?
Well, he didn't make any after that, so.
Oh, interesting.
That's my personal theory. He disappeared for about 10 years and he's kind of reinvented himself over the last 5.
Do you remember the name of the prostitute? I used to remember the name of the prostitute.
It was up and I was Googling him yesterday and it popped up. I forgot it. I didn't write it down.
Oh, God. It was something that was memorable and I just totally...
Candy or something.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, they go there and he's a bit of an asshole. Forge, he basically... he says, well, you've lied to your daughter already. Here's the wanted poster.
Yep, sets them up. He's a complete sneaky Alex.
Yeah, Sofina basically goes to the guards, kill both of them, takes them out, and Holga kicks ass.
She does. In fairness, the few scenes where the fight scenes aren't CGI, they're actually quite well choreographed.
True. I agree with that, actually. Yeah.
I will say there's too much CGI, but then it's kind of hard to do a movie like this without a whole lump of CGI as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll mention it later on, but there's one of the scenes where I just thought, Jesus, this is really bad. It's like from the 90s.
Was it a potato?
No, I wouldn't. No, it wasn't. It was when Doric turned into all the animals. Yeah. The deer was terrible.
They didn't spend enough time rendering, baby, because it looked almost low res.
It was
kind
weird.
of that scene annoyed me.
Yeah. I was like,
for the amount of money they spent on this.
The bug looked okay. Then the rat was a bit dodgy, and then the deer was like, fucking hell.
Eagle looked great.
Eagle was fine. Yeah, but somehow they just didn't get the deer. Like, they got the mannerisms of the deer, they just didn't get the actual
the animation
qualities.
Itself was fine, but the actual rendering was weak.
Yeah. So they're escaping, and they escape after kicking ass. Choreographed fights are very good. We say a quick thing of Forge lying to Kira again, saying that Ed is fucked off. Your dad.
Yeah, your daddy. I give him the money, and I give him the cash he was waiting for, and then he just left. Yeah. He obviously doesn't care about you, effectively.
Yeah. Again, like a paint by numbers script trope. It's like, it's not a lot of thought behind it. It's like, fine, fair enough, okay. So they're like going, well, they just leave, and then they go, well, we need to get a crew to go back in. It's like, really? You're 100 meters from the wall. Just go back in. You just killed half the guards. Just head back in.
Yeah, when they're least expecting it. You can do it now while they're down guards.
Yeah. So they get Simon the Sorcerer. They get Durick, the Druid.
So this is where the movie kind of tries to meld two different genres together. So the heist setup where you get your team together. That's what they're doing here.
Yeah.
They're gluing it into a Dungeons and Dragons based fantasy, which I suppose is fine. Actually, I don't disagree with that approach at all. I just think it's not very adventurous in how nuanced it became. It's just very simple.
Yeah. Well, the two guys, they're coming from like a background of, Spider-Man Homecoming and other sort of, classic genre type movies.
But I would say the Homecoming is much more nuanced than this. It's actually, like, if you look at I know we shouldn't be analyzing another movie, but the character of Spider-Man and how he's, is portrayed by Tom Holland and his vulnerabilities are absolutely played brilliantly and very well, dug into. But in this, it's very shallow.
Yeah. For sure. I guess it's just the genre that it is that they maybe weren't that comfortable with. Maybe they just got like a Like it's a mandate from the production studio going,
Here are all the
do
things you
this.
need to mention in this movie. You've got
Yeah.
X amount of minutes. I think that might be very true. You have to go to Neverwinter. You have to talk about Baldur's Gate. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You fit all these things in because it's from a movie for Hasbro. So
yeah. So the sort of supporting cast, the Simon the Sorcerer and Deirdre, yeah, they're fine. They're not like the actors who play them are not crazy amazing. They're good actors, but they're not very
reasonable.
memorable.
No, I just remember Simon from Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah, he was in that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually liked him in that.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I was looking
way better movie than this. It actually has a bit of nuance to it.
Yeah, so like they, to cut a couple of scenes here, they get onto the to the crew, and the tree fairies that Deirdre is living with are the Forge is deforesting all the forest around them. Oh, sort of that's the that's her plot.
I'm gonna get you for cutting down those trees, you big meanie.
Yeah. So back in the castle
and cutting down Paddington Bear's trees as well.
See, it all ties in together. There's a whole big sort of character called Zas Tam who appears to Safina, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but he doesn't appear ever.
The bad guy, the bad guy, the big bad.
Zas Tam.
No, he appears in the shadows, and he gives his instructions to the red wizard who is hanging out with Pearl Forge.
Yeah. But but then like Sofina is the end boss. Yeah. Spoiler alert. Like there is no manifestation of this shadow monster. But at the end of the movie, we do get, I think, Ed going, "Oh, Zas Tam will be back," or something like that. Going, okay. Dungeons and Dragons 2, anybody?
Not with those takings, there won't be.
Oops.
Yeah, I imagine that was the plan. If it doubled money or more, probably more. If you tripled the money, they'd definitely be releasing a second one, but not enough cash.
But as well as that, I don't know. I just get the sense, if you want a good sort of line of movies, you gotta shorten your movie titles. Forget about the colons. Dungeons and Dragons 1.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that, because Among Thieves, it's just like
in another decade, though, they did release Lord of the Rings.
Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah. They all had big ass titles with colons everywhere.
Well, that's based on a book that has it sorted for you.
Yeah.
The entire.
You couldn't not do it.
No, Dungeons and Dragons is a computer game. It didn't really need.
Yeah,
whatever.
You could have just went with even dropped the Dungeons and Dragons bit, and maybe have that as a subtitle that doesn't really show. But yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they want to get into the vault because obviously, actually, we didn't mention the main sort of impetus for Ed's sort of journey and adventure is he wants to get this scroll of whatever, reawakening or something.
Reawakening, yes.
Yeah, it's not a scroll. Tablet.
Reawakening.
Yeah, tablet. So it's in the vault. They believe it's in the vault.
He wants to get the missus back to life.
He wants to get the dead missus back to life. And you kind of already
left it a bloody while, though, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's been sidetracked by stealing stuff, but you kind of know because that the plot evolves so much that you understand and you realize halfway through going, yeah, he's not going to get one of these crew is going to die. I thought it was going to be the daughter, but it doesn't happen like that. But you kind of know with the way the plot has been developed as you go along, yeah, that's not going to happen because there's no strength in that relationship. We get a few flashbacks. We don't get any powerful dynamics between Ed
trope,
and his
though, isn't it? Like
wife.
The Golden Fleece style thing, like where the hero sets out with one task in mind and then realizes that's not what they want. When they get it, they want something else, and that's this. The realization that you actually have what you want already. Quit messing about. You've got it.
Yeah. Anyway, Doric, the druid, this is when she turns into a sort of insect, into a mouse, into a cat, into a falcon, back to druid, and then the deer. And she heads back and went, yeah, there's a Mordenkainen arcane seal on it. And a sorcerer goes, up, that's it, we're done.
I can't break that. Toodle pips.
Toodle pips. And then Holga goes, no, you can get a helm of disjunction. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of handy, isn't it?
Yeah. So off they go to the Evermoors because Simon the sorcerer's got one token for resurrecting old people from the clan of Holga.
Speak to the dead. You got a little thing, which reminded me of the movie. I know you haven't seen it, Hellboy. Exact same thingy happened in that, where you get to ask, you flick this little medallion, and you can speak to the dead with it. Same jive.
There you go. We get a little scene with Sophina sending off another tie-in to sort of go after them. We get to see him a little bit, and then he dies or whatever. He doesn't die because he's undead anyway, but whatever.
He gets chewed upon.
Yeah. Holga, on her way to Evermore's, pops into her ex-husband, Marlaman.
Played by Mr. Cooper. Mr. Bradley Cooper, which was quite surprising.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
5 minute little scene. I like that.
Little scene, yeah.
Yeah, I like that he'd married a woman just as huge as Olga.
Yeah, he'd moved on, but not in the type of lady he was married to. But it was like, but then, it wasn't really that in depth, but Holga comes out going, I'm going to get that loot to show him and show my clan what they're missing.
Yeah, there's no real feeling of motivation from this. No. I thought it was funny seeing a tiny little Bradley Cooper. That's about the height of this scene.
Wasn't he a tiny little leprechaun? Oh no, that was Jared Butler in movie 43.
He plays a raccoon in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, so. Yeah, that's interesting. They must have went, you want to be part of this too? Could be big. So they get to this, former war thing where the last time the helm of disjunction was seen. I hated the first person they woke up. I hated the way that it was just a generic trope where Ed just asked 5 questions without knowing he was asking 5 questions, and then the guy went back to death.
It's pretty much the same as the 3 wishes.
Yeah.
Joke where you keep wishing for stupid shit and then you've no wishes left.
Or you're just asking, are you sure I have 3 wishes? Yeah, sure? Now you have 2. Fuck off.
Yeah, and that they did 5 of those in a row, which was overdoing it. The next few resurrections were reasonably funny. Not resurrections, but the awakening of the dead, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
It was fine.
It was fine, but
I didn't like the questions he had to ask them to fill it out though. What's your favorite or food or whatever? It's come on, let's just think a little bit more about the questions that you could ask here to make it a little bit more interesting, maybe a bit more
I did
funny.
like that they didn't bother answering or asking 5 questions of the last guy though.
He was just left there.
He's like,
I was thinking then, hello. It's like Hans Moleman stuck in somewhere. Hello. Oh, that's a Grandma Simpson, I think. He's Grandpa Simpson. Stuck somewhere.
It was good.
Yeah. I was wondering then if he could just get up on his bony legs. That would be nice. He could just walk around there.
Yeah, killing.
Continuing to kill.
Until somebody asks him the question.
No, that's true. Yeah. What the hell are you? Oh, great. Thanks.
Plump.
Yeah. Yeah. What do we got? So they say, listen, there's this dude called Zank Yander who he was the last person seen with it. So off you go and get him.
Yep. He's got the helmet of whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. Helm of disjunction.
Disjunction. That's right. Yeah. Dysfunction.
Yeah. Or whatever. So we get a lot of talking from Zank. We get the Tam backstory. We get he makes Ed swear on a Harper book that he'll spread the wealth to the village or the town where Forge has his castle. And then he goes, all right, let's go to the Underdark, to the orifice.
Yeah, there's nothing like jumping into an orifice on a Friday morning.
There's a lot of type things. There's a lot of things here that remind me of Guardians of the Galaxy. These rock nons who only prey on people with high intellect, and they just walk past them all. And Chris Pine goes, "Oh, it's a bit insulting."
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay, fine. And then Zank is talking about the complexities of crossing the bridge, and Simon just steps on it and goes, "Oops, sorry." And this bridge collapses after there's about a minute's speech by Zank saying, "You have to do this, you have to do that. 5 steps in, 5 steps to the left, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, and I get that it is similar to some of the comedy or some of the humor in Guardians of the Galaxy. It's just not as well delivered, or not really as well thought out.
Yeah, no, I think it's script, and it's also caliber of actor, because in Guardians you have well-established actors.
Mm.
I'm not saying these actors were bad.
Oh, they're not bad. They're not bad actors by any shake of the stick, but I don't know. I suppose Chris Pine is used to doing comedy, but it doesn't land as well.
No, he's decent as the sort of top billing here, but I don't know, just a little lacking. Like I kind of liked his rejigging of Kirk in that Star Trek.
Yeah, so did I, actually. Surprisingly,
movie.
Didn't hate it as much as I thought I would. It was reasonable.
No, it was very much action. I think that was it was more Star Warsy action sort of take on Star Trek, but that was fine for the
no trade negotiations.
No trade negotiations. The Phantom Menace was being really re-released in like cinemas in America. I didn't see it happening over here.
Why?
25 years, I think.
Oh, yeah. Just to remember how much they didn't need to do it.
Trade negotiations. Now, this is what I call pod racing.
Fuck. Oh, what a terrible movie. Okay, let's go on.
So
You're depressing me.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I liked was the something that reminded me of Portal, the video game.
The hitter stuff.
Hitter. It just totally
Uh,
reminded me of, because
Portal 1 and Portal 2.
Yeah, because they totally like did stuff, and I was like, "Oh God, my brain used to go nuts when I was playing Portal."
I loved when you figured out some weird ass way to use it, and that's why I loved their shenanigans with the hitter thing. Is one of the best parts of this.
Yeah, that's good, because it gets a bit more complex later on a bit, and we'll talk about it then. But yeah, Portal 2 more so than Portal 1.
Yeah.
Portal 1 was like 2 hours or something. Portal
that
2 was like 13 to
Half-Life
15 hours. Yeah, like Portal 2 was crazy, and I remember my brain just sort of tingling a bit when I when I solved something, because portals don't exist in the real world.
The endorphins kick you get when you'd figured out a portal puzzle and done something weird to get it to work was just fantastic.
Yeah, it was just like, this doesn't exist in reality, so now your brain has to make new synapses connect,
but using these existing physical or physics. So it's just juicy. What a juicy game out of nothing.
It was amazing. So this the Tyans catch up to them in here, and Zank's a pretty nifty sword fighter, but then they get up again and they chase after them.
Yeah, the problem with the undead is you can stab them as many times as you want. They're just going to get bloody well back up again. Yeah, it
sort of reminded me of like the Matrix 2. It's like, all right, what's the point?
Yeah, just like
Matrix Reloaded, whatever. It's like, stop Neo, stop fighting with Agent Smith. What's the point?
He's just going to get back up again in a different corpse. Yeah. Stop messing around.
Anyway, there's a fat dragon here, which I guess is another take on a normal dragon, I guess. They tried to mix it up a bit.
Yeah, the I don't know. The comedy bit is the dragon's fat.
That's the joke.
That is the joke. Which, I get it, I suppose, but yeah.
Anyway, they get out of there. They escape from the fat dragon. Yeah, and Zank leaves. Simon has a bit of a challenge with donning the helm, and
I was kind of annoyed with the Zank leaving thing, because the mission that they have in hand is exactly up his street, being a paladin and all his bollocks. Yeah. He really should just hang about and finish the mission.
True.
But it would have been too bloody easy, because he's, unlike the rest of them, he's competent.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff happening. Yeah. But he leaves and walks straight in a straight line across a rock.
I don't know about you. I found that funny.
That was funny. I think I smiled with that one. I think that was a smile that I did.
Yeah, it's just, oh, he's just gonna, oh, he's coming to a rock. What's he gonna do? Oh, he's going over it.
Going over. I think I read it was ad lib.
Oh, was it? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
he just kept walking and walked over. All right, like a very simple. Ed dreams of a dragonfly that he had a thing with his wife. Like, just I don't know. It comes back in the last scene, so I guess it's worth mentioning.
Yeah,
Simon the Sorcerer sucks a little bit. So
he does. He doesn't believe in himself.
He doesn't believe in himself. Trope 101.
Yeah.
And Ed is like going, no, you don't just believe in yourself, man.
And Ed, who's the Chancellor who doesn't, just fill people full of shit, is actually right.
Yeah. I think this is when he sort of tells everybody, listen, I stole that treasure in the Red Wizard's place, and that's why my wife died.
Yeah, because
he
gives
gold.
A big speech about being failures. We're all failures, and if we stop now, we'll stay failures.
Yeah. So he sits down on a
rousing speech.
He sits down on a rock bench, sort of sulking, and then everybody comes and joins him. Apart from Simon, who goes, "I'd sit there after his room." I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the more complicated portal thing. They say, "Listen, that's just
this is the heist."
Yeah, it's the heist. Portal into the vault and sorted. So they sort of, in a complex sort of way, there's a wagon going past with the gold in it, and they get into it using the one of the portals, and it's kind of it totally reminded me of Portal 2, just the way it's so complex, figuring out how the hell to do stuff.
Oh yeah, and then physics and then the upside downness of gravity based on where you're jumping into it. Like it's juicy. I love it. I love this scene. I love the complications that they encounter because of the weirdness of portaling.
Yeah. And then it sort of goes into a dead end because when the painting goes into the, in quotation marks, vault, it falls on the floor. So they open it on their side and it's like concrete.
Yeah, crap.
Yeah. So Durek starts scraping away. So yeah, if I turn into a worm, I'll get through. So they sort of like go, all right, let's just create a diversion and go through the front door pretty much. So the loot attempt, where Simon manifests Ed playing the lute, and I thought that was pretty good effect. I don't know why they couldn't do the deer and they could do Ed melting into a sort of...
Yeah, I think they spend all the money on that one.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. Anyway, the guards chase him, and this is where they all sort of split up. Holga kicks ass. Ed goes to Kira, but Kira ends up being Sophina, the red wizard.
Simon chucks on his helmet to open up the vault that's protected by a super powerful spell, and then finds confidence in himself when he's just about to get stabbed.
Yeah, so when he puts on the thing, his ancestor comes to him and he keeps on kicking them out of the helmet, but when he gets in front of the vault, he just slaps his ancestor. His ancestor turns into him for some strange reason and goes,
"About bloody time."
About bloody time, yeah. Doric goes through the portal and ends up under the arena going, all the riches are here. And when Simon goes through to the vault and Holga joins him, there's nothing in the vault.
Yep. Oh my God. That fella Forge has been up to no good.
Yeah. So pretty much Forge is planning on stealing all the stuff. He's pretty much hasn't changed. He's just a thief.
Yeah.
And Sophina's used him to sort of gather all the citizens into this arena so she can do the beckoning death on them all.
Which I understand what she's doing, but it seems like
it was stupid.
Far too overly complex way of getting a bunch of people together in one spot.
Yeah.
It's way easier. Like she spent years at this.
Yeah.
She's a super powerful wizard. I'm sure she could do bloody other stuff.
Yeah, like it's a small enough village around the castle. Just do your beckoning death sweeping through the streets. It's no big deal.
God damn it.
Yeah. Anyway, they all get, so Simon, Holga, and Durek all get wrapped up in this crazy plant stuff, and so does Ed after he goes to Kira and says, "Listen, I've been a bad dad, you know." But Kira's Sophina. They're all wrapped up, and basically Ed goes to Forge, "Let us fight in the arena and give us some sort of stuff."
Give it a chance.
Forge is going, "No." But Sophina's going, "Yes."
Yes,
even more people.
They've earned the right to fight.
Yeah, even more people to give the beckoning death to. So they're in the High Sun Games, which are pretty much a maze in an arena, sort of like a crazy magical Roman Colosseum. And I think in the background later on, it actually is the Roman Colosseum. It looks like
effectively. Did you get the call out to an 80s animation?
I did. I couldn't.
Did you watch this animation as a kid?
Oh yeah.
I love that the cartoon, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Fantastic show, and they were running around in the background.
Yeah, you couldn't not recognize them if you were brought up in the 80s.
Yeah. Isn't I liked it that it was very subtle little nod. They don't do anything with it, and that's right. Otherwise, you would have been doing the dirt on that 80s cartoon back in the day. To do anything with them would have ruined everything. Just leave it alone.
Yeah,
that was fine.
I'm wondering if at any point did somebody in the production go, all right, are we using the cartoon characters like as the main characters? It could have been a kids movie because the Dungeons and Dragons from the 80s were pretty much kids.
Yeah,
with an old wizard type dude.
That was much darker than this movie, actually. The old
cartoon. It was decent.
Very
Didn't
dark.
They have one of them had like a bow and arrow, and the arrows were
ranger,
all like magic arrows, weren't they? Yeah. No, it was good. Yeah, it was darker than this for sure.
Oh, way darker. Yeah, Venger, the bad guy, was real badass, horrible man with his dragon. I watched it a few times.
I don't remember the enemy's name. I don't remember any of the characters' names. I just remember visually the old wizard dude and the young boy and the arrow person.
Yep. So I love that callback to that. That's just a fantastic little nod.
Yeah, it was good because it was in the background, or there's like they didn't even communicate with these main characters, and I was like, oh, I know them.
Yeah.
Anyway, they escaped the maze due to this gel block type thing. I really just didn't bother with that. There was so many holes in that plot device that I didn't really because Durek and
don't read into it too much.
No, Durek and Simon have these stop magic bracelets on, and Durek goes into the gel block and comes out of it, and the bracelet is gone, and then Simon goes into it and then goes out of it, and then the bracelet stays there, and then because Ed is going, find some keys there to unlock your cuff, sort of in a off the cuff remark.
Hey,
but so they go into these gel blocks, and the gel box goes under the arena, so they go running and
gelatinous cube, I think it's called
gelatinous cube, and so they go to escape on the boat, and Forge comes and puts a knife to Kira's throat, and then we go, oh, there you go, Kira. Now you know he's an asshole.
He showed his true colors. That's Hugh Grant for you all the way through.
Now you can mention the potato.
Yeah, so this piece of animation annoys the poop out of me because it doesn't look real. Helga has a habit of throwing potatoes at people, which I actually like. Should throw potatoes at people, but I don't like how this is actually animated because it hits his face and breaks apart, and then his face reacts. So I don't think they should have slowed it down the way they did, because at slow speed it just looks like there's an animated potato hitting somebody in the head. Hit him with a potato, or do it fast with animation so that it doesn't look so crap. That's just my 2 cents.
I was looking at going, that's fine, whatever. It's a trope, though, in this day and age to do slow-mo things hitting
potatoes
people.
in the face.
Yeah.
We're always doing slow-mo potatoes in the face.
Yeah. Anyway, so they Ford is about to shoot Ed in the head with an arrow, and they will go, sorry, Ed, sorry, George, but Forge, the Simon then puts a big wave to get them out of there and hurtles Forge to the ground.
Simon's been upgraded.
Yeah, he's actually good now. He believes in himself.
Yeah, trope plastic.
So Fina's up to her shit in the arena and all this crazy.
Yeah, so she started melting some of the rich lads.
Yeah. So they see it from the boat and they go, oh shit! All right, let's go back.
Can't let that happen, can we?
Yeah. So then they use the portal gun one more time. It should be just called Dungeons and Dragons Portal.
If the hither staff, or the portal gun, as we like to call it, was used more and earlier in the movie, I just all over the place. I'd love it. It's like the glaive. Just go crazy. You can do anything you want with that damn thing. It's such an amazing tool and such an amazing device.
Don't not use it.
Yeah, I like how it's used. Actually, probably best not to overuse it because it would get boring soon, quick enough.
True. True.
And I liked where they aimed the output.
That was good. Yeah.
Out of Hugh Grant's face, out of his mouth. So
Yeah,
he's vomiting gold and riches down on the people.
Yeah, there's a hot air balloon going across the city, and this sort of culminates in the promise or the swearing that Ed did on the Harper's Bible or whatever it is to say he will spread the wealth with every ones of the citizens. So they all flock out of the arena, and Savina's going, no.
So her plan is ruined, but that doesn't mean she's beaten yet. She's
angry.
A bit miffed.
She's a bit angry. So there's the final battle, and there's a lot of elements to this final battle, and that's this sort of thing you have to think about as a film, not that I am, but a film producer, director, writer. It's like, okay, how do we finish it off? And I think they just went to, there was just way too many things going on, I thought. Like you'd phantom hands fighting each other. Yeah. You had, what else did you have? You had lots of other stuff. You'd just other stuff happening.
Owl bears and blah, 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 blah. Listen, I think this is another of the Hasbro, you must include this in this movie. So the Phantom Hand thing is a big D&D thing.
It is.
Yeah. Which, fair enough. But to be honest, I don't mind how she gets defeated. I actually quite like it.
But, you knew Kira was coming back.
Yeah. But they should have just went straight there, in my opinion. There was far too much CGI fighting.
Yeah, we forgot to mention Kira has this little invisibility necklace, the daughter, but you just knew she was going to come back into the fight and do the culminating tactical maneuver.
Yeah,
so she slaps a magic cuff on Safina's hand, and then Durek comes back as her owl bear and slaps the shit out of Safina into the ground, and then more.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. I just don't. All the fighting up to that was kind of pointless. Because let's face it, the Red Wizard has this all-powerful spell which traps everybody in time. Start with that, and then we'll end the film nice and good with Simon breaking that spell, and then you're dead. Bah.
Yeah, but it went a little flaky and a bit weak, I thought. But yeah, the way it ended was fine. But then I'm like going, okay, she hit the shit out of Safina, but she's not dead.
Oh yeah, I would have decapitated her.
Yeah, do something. Because there was a couple of decapitations earlier on in the movie. It wasn't as if it's not a done thing, but I don't think she was dead. Holga's dying though, and this is when we realize
that is the trope.
That is the trope. It's like, oh, okay, it's Holga, not Kira, that it was going to be dying, and then it's sort of, I don't know, I didn't like, it was meant to be emotional, but I wasn't feeling that much about it. But
no,
he uses it on her, and
I think the point being that he realizes that saving Kira's mom is actually saving Holga, because Holga raised her.
Yeah, there was a flashback.
Her mom's been dead, what,
since
15
she was
years or whatever. So
yeah, it was the right choice, Ed.
It was the right choice, Ed, but it was so bloody obvious. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's all right. And we just have this closing montage of them sitting down, as they say. Ed was like going, oh, Tam will be back, or Taz will be back, or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And
set up the
Forge
second movie.
Yeah, Forge is caught, and he's done 1 year already. We see a flash forward, and
Charlatan.
You know it's going to happen. You knew it was going to happen.
Curtains
you sort of
closed,
go, okay,
though.
Yeah, boom,
into the wall.
They've bricked up the wall because Jonathan has used too many times.
It reminded me of Father Ted with Father Jack jumping through the window all the time.
Yeah.
We put in plexiglass.
Yeah. Jonathan was played by a stunt guy.
Was he? He's thrown out a window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So so that's pretty much it.
Listen, there's not much depth, or there's not much to dig into this movie, and I think that's possibly intentional. It's very light in terms of there aren't multiple levels to this movie. It's fan service, effectively, and it's done reasonably well.
Yeah, I wonder, I don't know what Dungeons and Dragons fans thought of it, but I'm sure they had lots to say about it. But the fact that the user score is slightly above the Metascore leads me to believe that people enjoyed it. Maybe the fans did too.
Yeah,
The thing about Dungeons and Dragons is there are no real sort of, like, if you're a traditional tabletop gamer of Dungeons and Dragons, you don't have a crazy amount of visual elements to latch your imagination
yeah,
onto.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's true.
so you, like, if they like just make shit in this movie and you go, no, I didn't imagine it like that, or it wasn't like that in the video game or whatever. So
There were
yeah.
2 Baldur Gate movies back in the 90s, but they were
Really?
super 16-bit tastic, so they weren't all that visually impressive. There's a lot of visual medium out there, like, but it's more comic book style. So there wasn't really. There was a movie with Jeremy Irons a few years back.
Oh.
Dungeons and Dragons one as well. It was
Oh,
awful.
I vaguely remember Jeremy Irons
I
doing
watched
that,
it because I love Jeremy Irons, and I regretted watching it. It was absolute tripe. I can't remember what it's something about thieves or something. Anyway, it was a shocking
like this one.
movie. Yeah, it was like this movie, only much worse in every aspect.
Gonna have to look that up because that vaguely rings a bell. That's Jeremy Irons did something like that.
I think it was Jeremy Irons. Don't quote me on it, but it was an actor of his caliber.
Yeah, I think that rings a bell. All right, plot I give 2.5. It's average. I'm not going any higher. I'm not going any lower. I think it doesn't really deserve lower, and it doesn't deserve any higher. It's just like a generic action movie based in the lore of D&D, and that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, it's a plot that's trying to name every element of D&D and make sure everything's included. I think the plot is overly full of D&D elements. I think they didn't need to show absolutely everything they could and cram it in with very little detail. I think if they just squared it down to maybe going through one city or one location in that world, would have been way better. You could have more depth to stuff, but this was just splashes right through it. It's too much. There's no depth, so it's weak. 2.5. Yeah, okay. It's too much detail to squeeze into a movie of this length, but it's not terrible either.
Yeah. I'm doing the same for acting. It's not above 2.5. Yeah. It's not below 2.5. I just can't.
I think we're going to get a bit of a trend on the scores in this movie. 2.5 as well. It's fine. It's actually pretty good in some places and kind of weak in some places. So it balances out. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. I give the soundtrack 2. First, for a rollicking one like this, I needed some more hooks to the grandiose themes.
Copying my scores here.
There you go. Well,
2 as well. And the reason I give it 2 and not 2.5 is if you compare it to the movie we watched prior to this, that is stonkingly powerful, teams that fit. This was a bit... Actually, you know what made me drop it down from 2.5 was whenever Chris started singing. It really wrecked my head on the loose. He was just no, just don't do that.
Yeah. Production, I just gave them a little bit above 2.5, gave 2.75 just because, well, they had a big budget. I'm not going to give any further than that, but I think it looked nice. It looked good. There was a couple of, obviously, a mixture between CGI and real effects, and it's, 2.75 is above average, but not good. In an overall presentation of a massive movie like this, it wasn't crazy to me.
I had originally wrote down 3 yesterday evening, but talking about potatoes and deers has made me knock it back to 2.5.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they missed stuff, especially the deer. I don't know why they missed such obviously crap animation.
I really would love to know if that was caught by other people and wondering why it happened. It's just weird.
Yeah, a movie this budget shouldn't be effing up that, obviously.
No. All right, cool. Amy Nicholson in the New York Times gave it 60 out of 100. She said, after a decade in development, the project that made it to the screen is a noisy, pixelated smash and zap that does manage to capture the spirit of play.
Pixelated is a word I would use to just define some of the scenes, all right? Too much CGI, not of the quality that it should have.
Yeah. Some news or media outlet called Original-Sin, CIN, gave it 100. If there was anything missing from the lives of sword and sorcery loving nerds, it would be a proper Dungeons and Dragons movie. Now we have one. So there you have it.
Yeah, okay. It is a proper Dungeons and Dragons movie. It's not a disgrace. 100's a bit much.
Yeah. Actually, Kyle Smith in the Wall Street Journal gave it 20 out of 100. Sorry, I just went down to 60 for some reason. Every element other than Mr. Grant is brain-scoringly awful. The flat characters, the dull acting, the rusted battle axe dialogue, and above all, the action scenes, which are frenzied, chaotic, meaningless, and vapid, overflowing with CGI that is no more awe-inspiring than the average TV commercial about lizards selling auto insurance. Ouch.
I don't agree with it, but that's a great
It's a good one.
Yeah, fair play.
Pretty good. Yeah, fair play to him. All right, well, let's put a hex spell on this episode.
Yeah, let's just trap it in time.
Yeah, trap it in one of those gel things.
The gelatinous cube, and let it dissolve into nothingness.
Yeah. All right, let's roll the dice and see. Roll the D&D dice, 12-sided dice, and see what we get for episode 65. And we get 12,009.
Oh, good.
And movie 12,009 is Time Cop from 1994.
Yes! It's our first Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
First Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Oh, it's a terrible one as well. Perfect.
Yeah.
Listen, I used to be, as a kid in the 80s, I watched quite a lot of Jean-Claude Van Damme. I always realized it was rubbish, and this is no exception. I think this is the 90s, though, is it? Or
yeah, it's 94, which I find hard to believe.
One of the last garbage movies he made.
Well, I think they're all garbage movies he made.
Yeah.
There's a very short summary on Metacritic. An officer for a security agent that regulates time travel must fend for his life against a shady politician who has a tie to his past. There's a Metascore of 48, but a user score of 6.6.
Wow, okay.
Cult classic.
Jean-Claude Van Damme is always a cult classic. A lot of people love his stuff. And it's maybe because of its just silliness.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. It's only 1 hour and 39 minutes, so it should be decent enough material to review.
Time Cop. Oh, man, that's years since I've seen this one.
I've never watched it.
It's exactly what you think it will be.
I believe the only Van Damme movie I've watched is Universal Soldier.
Yeah, it's great.
I believe. But if you're looking at Metacritic's, most of his movies are below 60.
Yeah, and that'd be about right. They all seem to have the same topic. Somebody kills his wife and he owes revenge. 90% of them are that.
He is credited in Predator as other. I wonder what he did in Predator.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was going to be the Predator. That was the plan, and then they didn't do it, thankfully.
Okay. Oh yeah, he was in Street Fighter.
Oh God, this is way better than Street Fighter, but that's not a statement.
Actually, I remember Bloodsport and Kickboxer, and I thought they were great as a kid.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's what they are. They were action movies with no story.
Yeah, Bloodsport was so good.
Cyborg he did? Yeah.
Cyborg, I don't know. They're all very badly reviewed.
Cyborg,
1989. Yeah, 24 Metacritic score.
So bad. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to reviewing a really terrible movie.
Yeah, it's been a while. Cool. All right, so we'll do that then, and share our podcast if you like what you're hearing, and look forward to watching Jean-Claude Van Damme in episode 65. Bye-bye.
Cheerio.